Sunday school this evening. Our speaker needs absolutely no introduction at all. You have driven a long distance and come extremely early this evening, so I think a certain person would say, I would say, without more ado, let's go from Keld to fine standards with Major Williams.
The ups and downs of character-forming events, the last few events, luckily we're all right now to go, I'm glad to say. And it always gives me enormous pleasure to see you all here and to know that you're in for a treat. And if you've never been to the 9 stands, for goodness sake, one of these days, when there's no foot and mouth about, do go, because it's a very, very exciting first sight, as you'll see for yourselves, I hope. So, without more ado, we'll go, and can you... So, now, first of all, let me just tell you that this is a little slice, if you like, of what I like to call my slide library, and there are all sorts of titles, as you see here. They're absolutely everywhere, and it's in a glass-fronted bookcase, and something like 70 different books like this, of all sorts. There's, you can see them here, various kinds there, all sorts of. So we'll delve into one of these books here for the slides tonight. So first of all, here you see the wonderful countryside round Keld. We start from Keld, and it's only fair to Keld itself for us to have a look at the absolutely beautiful countryside all around. And that is Burke Hill up there. And you can just see the swale, the river swale, coming down there. You see little glimpses of it here and there. And way up there, just to give you some idea of where you are, this is the footpath here, coming along here from Newcastle, and you're coming along what they call the North Gang, and that's the north side of Kisden. And up there, there, as you see. And here we are, some of our walkers here. That one there come all the way from Hartlepool. And they're in the audience here tonight, let me tell you. And there are several of them all here tonight. A big attendance of them. So I've got to be careful what I say. And so here we are, and this is on Burke Hill here, and we're all there looking at the camera, my camera of course, and it's on the footpath there on the southern side of the swale. The swale runs down there, glass, down there, somewhere like that. Now, at this point, at this stage, I have to tell them, look here, I said, I've lost my watch. I've left it on a stone on the smithy, in the smithy which is above Crackpot Hall. I'm very sorry, but you'll have to carry on, and I'll meet you again in Keld. So, dire news. Lou Dale, he's here in the audience as well, spoke up, and he said, look here, I'll go and get it for you. And he did, and this gives you some idea of what he did. Now, there is Crackpot Hall, looking back from Burke Hill. There's Crackpot Hall there, you see, and high above it, just above there, just out of the picture actually, is the smithy. That may be it there. In fact, I think that's it there in actual fact there. And that's where I left my watch. And so he climbed all the way back up there, up over there like that, to the smithy, collected my watch, and brought it back to me. And there's the and it's a very exceptional watch because it's an 8-day watch. And you don't very often get 8-day watches now. You get year-long watches instead, working on batteries. This doesn't work on batteries at all. You just wind it up and it goes for 8 days. It's a jolly good watch. And and I missed it quite a lot because it was so heavy in my pocket. It sort of balanced me. So anyway, this is where it was, you see. And there you see there. The old city. It's been repaired quite a bit now, by the way. The roof has received a renovation. And it is, after all, a period piece, because at one time it was the smithy for shoeing the various horses and ponies and so on, which were going down to the lead mines to collect lead ore and to take it up. The lead ore, the mines were way up over there, beyond Burke Hill, up over there, and they used to come down this way here, down past Crackpot Hall, down to the smelting mills at the foot of Swinnergill. And they came past here, and there was the shoeing shop there, in there, and the smith himself, the blacksmith and his family lived in the little house there, and there's the chimney of it. And it needed a good deal of, as you see, the roof needed a good deal of renovation. In fact, the whole place needed a good deal of it. And it's been done now. And it's wonderful to think that they have in fact done it. It's jolly good. And Lewdale, there he is there, on the right there, somewhere, at least I think that's him. Is that there? Could be him. All right. And so there it is. And my watch was on a little stone just inside the doorway there, just about there. And it's on a stone. Very stupidly I left it there. Anyway, he jolly well got it. He came down, there's the smithy again, and he came all the way down there and crossed the river by a little bridge up to us, waiting there on the Burke Hill. We were waiting. And there's the little bridge with the coming out. Rather scary bridge, as you see. Jolly difficult, really, with a wire to keep your balance there. Barbed wire, let me tell you, just me. And that gives you some idea of where what there is. There is crossing the bridge. Can you see him there? You just see him there, where my little light is coming across here, and he'll be joining the footpath which comes along there to us, waiting here. So there you are, the little saga of the lost watch foil. And so here we are in the deep gorge, the Kisden Gorge, below Keld, just before you get up to it. And it's just above Kisden Force. And Kisden Force is there. Kisden Force there. It's a double waterfall. And at any time of the year at all, it's one of the most impressive waterfalls in the whole of Yorkshire, I tell you. It's well worth going to see. Quite difficult to get to because of the miry ground and so on all around, but it's really well worth a visit. And if you've been there, you can say, I've seen Kisden Force. You can write a letter to the Daily Mail about it if you like. And so there's your first sight of Keld, and that's what it looks like, with the little chapel there, the little United Reform chapel there. Right, now. Just below Keld is another very, very impressive waterfall. The thing is, you only see it at winter time, in winter time, when there are no leaves on the trees, as I see it here now in winter time. catteric force, it's called, and it makes a tremendous din, I tell you. It's just below Keld, and it's really, once again, the River Swale at its most, the whole lot of it really. So a little below, just before we come into Keld itself proper, we come down to a little small place called Greenses. And at Greenses, Dick Metcalf used to farm. There he is there, with one of his 2 sheepdogs there. And so I was chatting to him there. As you can see from the state of the tractor, quite a long time ago. Well, it was. I used to do a great deal of walking by myself in the 1960s, in the early 1960s. I used to come all around here, chatting to everybody and so on. And then Dick Metcalf, and I said to him, "You're mucking, aren't you, Dick?" And he said, "Yes, yeah, of course I am." So then I said, "Look here, why don't you hire a helicopter and they'll do it and make a much better job of it." But they're rather skittish about the thing. But he said, "No, it's the dogs, you know." And he was thinking of the dogs here, they'd be absolutely scared stiff if a helicopter came low, scattering down. Anyway, there he is, and all the land round about was like this. It's all round about Greenses. It's all up and down, and it's very difficult really to farm. Just about this time of year, of course, July. And just by way of a little light-hearted variation, I thought I'd show you Bromley's steam-powered Farmer's Friend, 1878, and there's the farmer with a bowler hat, you know. And steam-powered. That was before the invention of the motor car, you see, this is all they could think of. Anyway, so there we are. Now the other one, the next one, is a chap I got to know very well indeed. This is William Alderson. And he was really a monument of the countryside. He really was a tremendous man. And he lived in a farmhouse at Angrum. That's a little place on the way up to Keld, just before you come to Keld. And it was called Up the Steps. That was the name of it, Up the Steps. And at one time, it used to be a pub. It was built as a public house, actually. And it became the farmhouse of the Angrum farmhouse, in actual fact. And it had a beautifully carved doorway facing away from the main road, facing up the hill, facing up towards Angrum Common, in actual fact. And the date there, and the name, William Fawcett up there, and 1838. You can't see it there, but it is there. And it's rather well carved, really, rather good front door there, I must say. And that is William Alderson. He was a councillor. He represented the Upper Dales on the council, the county council, for many a long year. And he was a very wise man indeed, I tell you. I was very sorry when he passed away in the 1980s. However, now here's another one. In Keld itself, this is Mr. Jack Metcalf. And Mr. Jack Metcalf used to have the milk round, the local milk round in Keld. And he used to hop over the wall, well, I don't say hop. He used to negotiate the wall by a gate, probably somewhere, a little hand gate, to fill the back can. The back can there, you see the back can there. And it's quite a museum piece, really. And here, on his way down for the morning milk supply in the back can, you see. That back can is now, let me tell you, in the museum at wherever it is, the name begins with B. has passed away as well. Anyway, there you are. And here is a Percival's bus. And there you see it was on a regular journey, twice a day, from Keld to Richmond. Quite a lot of people in it. You can see them there. Quite a few people there, quite a lot of people. And what you could do would be to hop on the bus at Keld. You'd go to Richmond and you'd do your little bit of shopping and you'd come back all in the morning. Or you could go off in the afternoon and get the bottle of whiskey you forgot about in the morning. Bring it back in the paper bag. Anyway, that was the regular service. The Dave passed away. Now Percival's buses, of course, are no longer with us, and all's a pity, really. However, there we are. And the other one I wanted to show you was Mrs. Cooper Metcalf. And Mrs. Cooper Metcalf lived in this wonderfully, beautifully picturesque little cottage here. A bedroom and bathroom upstairs, a little sitting room downstairs with a fire, and an outside you-know-what, and a little garden, a little garden gate, and everything. And the name of the place was Starling Castle. Starling, think of that. Starling, presumably, in there. I don't know, but I imagine they were. And I used to come back after one of my walks, and I would come back in an evening, and I'd call it Mrs. Cooper Metcalf. And one day I remember coming back one evening, and she just had a new electricity installed there, you see. And it was new, and she was in darkness. And I opened the door and I said, "Oh, hello, Mrs. Metcalf, you're in darkness. Would you like me to switch on your new electric light?" And she said, No, I'm used to the dark. I went to night school, you see." I was pretty good answer. And at any rate, I knew her, and she, of course, passed away eventually. And the place was sold. And once the place was sold, it lost all its charm. Now, you look at it there, and you look at it now. It's gone. Completely gone. Television aerial, well, that doesn't matter, I suppose. Concrete platform out there to replace the little garden. Enlarged windows here. Starling Castle all gone, and the outside loo has gone as well, garage for the car, and so forth. Anyway, there you are. Times march on, you can't do anything about it really. It was up for sale, and it went for £80,000. It was a hell of a big price, I thought, but still. So there, the passing of the ages. And this is Mr. James Alderson of what is called now Hope House, and his farms are way up the dale, up Birkdale, or did. I hope he's still there. I don't know whether he is or not. He may not be. But anyway, there he is, James Alderson, a very great, enthusiastic Methodist preacher he was, and he used to come down to this very place, this very Sunday school here, and he would give a Sunday sermon here in what used to be the stage there at the end of this Sunday school. He used to come down and do that. And the foundation stone, you can't read it awfully well on this, but the foundation stone of the Methodist chapel in Keld has a lot of Aldersons on it. You see quite a few of them, and of course Metcalf as well, and Rukin. Rukin was the other great family here. They lived in the farm down just overlooking Catterick Force, really, and their name is there too. There's a representative of the Rukins as well. I think that's it there. But Rukin and Alderson and Metcalf, they were the founders of the Methodist chapel in Keld. And let me tell you, there's a fell, a peak, a fell, called Alson Seat, higher up. I'll show you a map of that in a minute. And the other chapel, of course, is the congregational chapel here, and there it is. They're called the United Reformed Chapel, of course, now, as you know. And it's got a rather jolly little sundial in. I always think that's very nice there, nice little sundial there. And you could, of course, tell the time from that. Why not? And inside, if you attend one of the services here, one of the simple Sunday services, somehow the complications of our present day life seem to fall away completely, and you think, by gum, life is not so bad after all. And there's the little inside bit. It hasn't altered very much at all. And the memorial tablet up there is worth looking at, because it's to the Reverend Edward Stillman. And the Reverend Edward Stillman was really responsible for building this. He did one of the first guided walks, if you like. He walked all the way down to London and back again, collecting money to build this chapel. And he collected £700 between the time he left Keld down to London and back again. And he built his chapel. And as it says there, he was a faithful man, and so he was too. And there's his wife there, Grace Stillman there, on this little memorial tablet in that little humble chapel. It tells, I think, a wonderful story, really. And this is what is now called Hope House, but it used at one time to be called the Cat Hole Inn. It was a pub, in other words, and it was called the Cat Hole Inn because, of course, in times gone by, all the area round about here was the haunt of wildcats. They're quite a rare animal nowadays. I think there's some of them in Wales. I don't know, I believe some are, but most of them in the Cairngorms and the Highlands of Scotland, most of them are up there now. And we can see a cat hole where they used to live there. Wild cat hole, you see there, marked on the map. A 6-inch map. It's not of Keld, this particular map, it's of Cotterdale. And Cotterdale is one of the really remote dales in the Yorkshire. It is really Cotterdale there. And it's rightly, it's got one of the few wild cat holes still existing. And there you see, that's what a wild cat looks like. A big animal with a huge tail, a big fat tail, as you can see there. Huge, that's enormous. Well, anyway, I was up there. And suddenly, a wildcat hopped on the bonnet of my Mini. And there he looked jolly wild, I must say. And I was eating my sandwiches in the car, you see. Behind there, incidentally, is Keld Post Office. It's gone now, but that's where it was. Keld Post Office. And anyway, this little cat here, I could see what he was after. I knew I was eating my sandwiches, and he wanted a sandwich. And he knew that if he didn't get one, he'd hop onto the mirror, the driving mirror, and hop onto my lap and raise absolute hell. So I gave him one. There he is, quite happy after that. But the animals in Keld are really an extraordinary race, I tell you. Because no sooner did I do that, I saw a sheepdog, for instance, fast asleep under my car. There he is, lying absolutely fast asleep. And when I wanted to drive off, I got into the driving seat and I said, "Oi, can't you wake up?" There he is, probably had a hard day. And also a pigeon. Okay. I could have sworn I heard him say hello. And there he is, he was talking me, and there I am there helping him. And he and I were having a lively conversation. All anyway, there you are, that's Keld. Now then, that's a distant view there of Keld, taken actually from Silver Hill, going up towards Tan Hill. And that's the view that you get as you come up the road here, there you are, up the road here, towards the Upperdale, Birkdale in other words. And the first thing you see is yet another impressive waterfall, Wainwrath Force. Wainwrath. And why is it called Wainwrath? Well, I'll tell you. Wain is a Norse name meaning a wagon, a big, huge, great six-wheeler wagon hauled by probably six horses, six draft horses, of course. And they came across a huge, great wass there, like that, a great platform, if you like, a sort of a paving stone, a giant paving stone, limestone, going across there like that. There was no bridge, there was no bridge. They came this way, on their way up from the south, up to the border of Scotland and beyond, into Scotland and there were no bridges, and the tracks are still there, but they're not used very much now at all. But this was the reason why it was called Wainwrath. Wain, as I say, the name of a wagon. There's a constellation of stars in the sky, all called Charles's Wain. And Wain, it looks, when you look at them, it looks rather like a panhandle, really, a frying pan almost, and it's meant to represent a wagon. And then the wass is the board that goes across here, like that, for the wain, the wagon to go across there, like that. Wainwrath Force. And just below it is another mighty waterfall, just below, between Wainwrath Force and Keld, just below, sort of, quite close to the road, where the whole river falls with a crash into the lower level down below here, like that. Wonderful. Rainbridge, called Rainbridge. And there's a view that you get looking far down into Kiston Gorge, Kiston up there, there's Kiston up there, and the river itself goes down here, down Wainwrath Force, Rainbridge Force, Catterick Force, all the way down there, right down to a lower level, down far down there, to the gorge, the one that you've just seen, just below Keld. And that's, you get a wonderful view of this in the early morning. You can see the long shadows here, indicating that I took them at sunup, just as the sun was rising over the top of Kiston. Wonderful. Now, I gave a talk to some Americans some time ago, a party of about 7 of them. They came from the state of Missouri and Iowa in the Middle West. And I got several very nice letters from them, including this map to begin with, showing how different the countryside in Iowa was, and of course Missouri as well, compared to Swaledale. And there you see, for instance, Swaledale. Can you see it there? There. Swaledale there. And it's on the main road there, going up there like that, where the Greyhound buses go. The long distance Greyhound buses in the USA travel on that. Long straight roads like that. And this is what Swaledale looks like, that particular Swaledale there, what it looks like. There. That's Main Street Swaledale. And the cars and the post office, of course, and petrol stations and so forth. Huge, great cars they have there, because of course petrol is the dollar size cheaper there than it is. So we come up, there's the road, there's the main road, our main road, Swaledale, there like that. You go past Hoggas, there, Hoggas. Now, there's a footpath that leads along the top there towards Ravensseat. And we're going up to have a look at Ravensseat, and we're going to have a distant view as well, a view of Alderson Seat, which I promised you, I told you I'd show you to you. So here we are, we're going up, and there it is. There's, I don't know whether you can see August, but there it is there. And the footpath is jolly rotten footpath, actually, never mind. It goes up here like that to Ravensseat, and up there, I don't know whether you can see it, but that's Alderson Seat there. Can you see it? I don't know whether I can get it any more sharp or not, but with this infernal projector, I hardly dare touch the damn thing. There. Can you see it now? A bit clearer there, Alderson Seat there. And there you can see Ravensseat as well. There's Ravensseat there. Now, it's a very, very interesting part of the world. It's quite really. Here you see the footpath and the farm countryside here, hilltop there, Parker's house here, and the road to Ravensseat goes on down there like that. And you see all kinds of things. There's Harker House there, Keld, and as you see, it was up for sale. This is from my notebook, actually, and there's a little advert I cut from the DNS Times, for sale by Mr. J. Alderson, down along there, who lives at the next farm, Hilltop. The top there that you look at just now. And it's up for sale, as you see, and there's the price there. I can't read it. Mountain Weekend Farmhouse. This was in 1970, you see, quite a long time ago, really. And Mr. J. Wilson lived there at the time at Hilltop. And there's Ravensseat. That's what Ravensseat Farm looked like. It doesn't look like it now, of course, but never mind. That's where it looks. And this is a tributary of the River Swale going down there, called the Whitsuntide Beck. The Whitsuntide Beck goes down there like that to join the River Swale further down. And at one time, the brothers here, Alistair and David Campbell, used to farm here, and here they are with one of their farm dogs, and you can tell how long ago this was because of the tractor. Look at the wonderful tractor there. That's very old. I mean, that's the tractor is a museum piece itself, isn't it? And Ravensseat is in behind the trees there, where there was also a little chapel. This was the chapel yard here. The chapel was there too. There was a chapel there. At the time, Ravensseat had a population of about 30 altogether. Most of them were employed in the lead mines and coal mines of Tan Hill. They had both coal and lead, as you know, at Tan Hill. Chiefly coal, actually, and the Rukin family were the family who worked the coal mines at Tan Hill below. And then there was farming, of course, as well, of Ravensseat. And here are the brothers here, Alistair and David Campbell. There they are, there. Now, Dr. Bell in Reed was our doctor before Dr. Bond. And he used to live at Sorrel Sykes, on the other side of where we live in High Spring. And one winter's day, he gave me a lift. It was a very hard winter. And he gave me a lift. And in the course of conversation in the car going back from the surgery to Fremington, he said, "I'm very worried about Mrs. Campbell, you know." Mrs. Campbell, wife of David Campbell, there, that chap. And she's due to have a baby. And I can't get her in the hospital because of snow. And so what I've done, he said, is to ring the police for a helicopter. And the police have rung up the RAF, and the RAF are sending up a helicopter to pick up Mrs. Campbell from Ravensey and take her to hospital to have a baby. And he said, in half an hour's time, if you keep a watch out from your house in High Fremington, you should see the sight of that helicopter above Grinton on its way down to the hospital, Mrs. Campbell on board. So I said, oh, jolly good, thank you very much, I'll stand. So I waited on this hard winter day, and then eventually I saw the helicopter on its way down over Grinton Church, on its way down to the hospital, down the dale. Oh, blast. To continue our interrupted fairy tale, we'll continue. Now, Ravensey, which you've already seen, you must know Ravensey by now, having seen about 50 times. Don't worry. And there you see Alistair and David Campbell. They're no longer there, by the way, they've gone. The helicopter on its way down. Now, notice there, I don't know whether you can see it awfully well, but there is Grinton Church, the outline of Grinton Church, and it's almost exactly over Grinton Church. It's yellow, actually, it was a yellow helicopter, and you can see how windy the day was, and it was snowing at the time, actually. As you can see here, it was a very wintry day indeed, and Mrs. Campbell was on her way down to the hospital, where she had a little baby boy. And there he is. And she wrote me a very nice letter from Ravensey there, the Ravensey community there, like thanking me for my picture postcard. So I sent her a picture of the helicopter over Grinton as a little souvenir of the stormy passage she had for the birth of her little boy. And I said in my letter, I said, with this beginning, he will probably turn out to be not a farmer at all, but an airline pilot. But what's happened to him, of course, I don't know, but there he is. They've gone now, they've left Ravensey. I think they're in Cumbria somewhere, I'm not sure. Anyway, there you are. Very interesting, really. And over here in this cotton country, really, it was at the time, it's not now, there are all sorts of interesting things to see. For instance, this plough, in perfectly new condition, and probably it came onto the land there during the time of the last war, when they used to have a Dig for Victory campaign going, and every available area of land was ploughed up, and they planted things like potatoes and so on and so forth to increase the rations, which they were terribly afraid of losing owing to the German surrounding the British Isles with submarines and all the rest of it. And so this probably dated back to that time. Quite interesting, I would think. And on the other side, the road goes, you can just see it on the skyline there, the road up Birkdale there. You'll see a distant view of Stone House, where Mr. James Alderson farmed, or used to live rather, at one time, and from the wide open spaces of Birkdale higher up. And there is a distant view of it, of Stone House, seen from the road there, and rather interesting because the River Swale, with the name of it, starts there at the confluence where these two tributaries meet. Birkdale back there, and like that, 2 becks, they meet at that point there, and from that point onwards, the river trail takes its proper name, the trail, all the way down there, from there. And this, of course, is the wild area here of Birkdale. Now, Birkdale, again, is a Norse name, meaning Valley of Birch Trees. Birk is a name for birch trees. And they were all gone, simply because there was a long period, according to Dr. Raystrick, who was a great salesman at one time years ago. He said that there was a long period of intense rain and so on, which probably leached all the goodness out of the topsoil of the countryside round about here, and all the birch trees, the forest of birch trees all over everywhere, perished, of course, and died for lack of nourishment. And this to confirm what he said, I came across one of these little grips, they're called grips, they're trenches, drainage trenches really, to drain the world a bit. And about 7 feet down below the surface, I saw the telltale trunk of a birch tree. So what he said was absolutely true. So that at last has come to the proper end. Now, one extremely interesting thing about Stone House, and in fact of a lot of buildings around here, especially West Stonesdale and Birkdale as well, is that many of the buildings are constructed without mortar at all. In other words, of dry stone construction. And here a barn opposite on the other side of the river from Stone House, which is just that there. And it looks like a sort of three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle almost. You just look at it close up. Look at that now. And if you look at that, there's not a single sign of any cement or water at all. It's all stone, and it looks as though it'll last a million years. I mean, there's nothing to stop it lasting as long as you like. And there are several wonderfully constructed, beautifully constructed houses and barns in this area of Swaledale, and especially West Stonesdale. There, for instance, there's a beautiful barn there, you see. Once again, the same thing. No mortar to stick those stones together at all. They just fit together. They've been very beautifully fitted together. And the roof as well, of course, which is slate, of course, i.e. stone. In these parts, slate means stone. And so here we are, and there's a view looking across Birkdale, and one of the little Birkdale becks there. There's his there, you see. And this is the area where James Alderson farmed. You can just see his little faint figure there. James Alderson, there he is there. And I hope he's still farming. I don't know whether he is or not. I've lost touch with him rather. I can't walk myself awfully well. But there's the sheep, you see there. Behind. So, and there's the long road coming up from Keld, and it comes up, and all this of course is Birkdale here, and the road comes up here like that, on its way to the head of Swaledale, and of course boundary stones too, between North Yorkshire and Cumbria. And they'll come up to that in a minute, and there in grip at the bottom of the grip is a telltale trunk there, a long lost birch tree, silver birch, instantly recognizable, you can see it. And there are several of them there, you can see them. Quite wonderful really when you think of it. After all these years, that's where they are. And so here we are, and this gives you a good idea, a good map this, Birkdale Common there, you see, and Birkdale Town is there, and the road coming up, here's the road we're here, and there, stone house there, you can see, and you're coming up to the boundary here, the county boundary, Cumbria there, and at one time it was called Westmoreland, of course. It's now the name Westmoreland has gone. And there used to be a wayside, in Catholic England, there used to be a wayside cross here called Hollow Mill Cross, at the very boundary there. Instead, it's, Hollow Mill Cross itself has been replaced over the years by two boundary stones. One boundary stone put up by the Cumbrian people, and the other boundary stone put up by the North Yorkshire people, and they're about 100 yards apart, and there was a certain amount of difference of opinion as to who was right, and of course the Cumbrian boundary stone overlaps the North Yorkshire stone, so there's about 100 yards between them, which both sides lay claim to. And up here is the Malastang. There's the Malastang edge. That's called the Malastang there. There, rather, Malastang edge. You can see it there. And down here is is High Seat. You see High Seat there? High Seat is where the source of the river really starts from. Probably that's it, just above the word seat, High Seat there. 2,300 feet, not very much in terms of feet, still less in terms of meters, about 500 meters high. So we'll have a look at that. We'll have a look at the source of the River Swale, just to share, so you can say to everybody, well, of course I've seen the source of the River Swale. And there's High Seat. That's what it looks like. And you're looking eastwards, you're looking down the dale from the top of High Seat. There used to be a little stone curragh tipped over by storm wind, I suppose, or something. And there is a huge area, a waterlogged area really, of sphagnum moss. Sphagnum, sphagnum. It becomes, eventually, after 2,000 or 3,000 years, it becomes peat. And eventually the peat, of course, another 3,000 or 4,000 years, becomes stone. Anyway, that needn't worry us at the moment. It's sphagnum moss all there, and all that little area there is in fact one of them. One of those little pools represents the flow, the beginnings of the River Swale. And away over there is Birkdale Town, as you see, so that gives you some idea of where we are. And this is a little glimpse down here, looking at the other way, in the other direction, from High Seat, looking down at the Malastang down there, where the railway goes down, of course. The famous Settle Carlisle Railway thunders along down there from Carlisle to Settle down the bottom there. And there you see, there's High Seat. The highest point there, up there, is High Seat. And here you see the area of the sphagnum moss. All the bright green stuff here is sphagnum moss. And this is the beginning here, this little bit here, is the beginning of the River Swale, where the water begins to flow. There's a very, very slight current here coming down, very, very slowly indeed down here, and it gets faster and faster as the gradient of the hill gets steeper and steeper. And you see little pools like this, and a little tiny little jolly waterfall, a little weeny waterfall, about 2 inches high there, as you see, and lovely, beautiful clear water, looking like whiskey. Believe me, it doesn't taste like whiskey. You should try it, I tell you. Anyway, there it is. And that's the beginning of the River Swale. And far down here as well, overlooking the Malastang, is one of the boundary stones, the boundary pillars, if you like, of Lady Anne Lady Anne Clifford, who called herself at the time High Sheriffess of Westmoreland, which in fact she was. She was the descendant, she was the heiress, in fact, of the 3rd Earl of Cumberland. And she ruled the place, I tell you, with a rod of iron. She really did. She had 5 castles and lived primarily in Scotland. And she used to go regularly on a tour of inspection around all the other castles in Westmoreland, delivering rockets wherever she went. Oh dear. And on that stone, to identify it, it's called Lady Pillar, that stone, and this is one of the stones on Lady Pillar, AP 1664, as you see. It's worn down by the storms of the area here now, but the AP stands for Anne Pembroke. She married the Earl of Pembroke in actual fact, and she didn't like it very much, I must say. But anyway, she married him. And she outlasted him, she outlaw him. She ended her life as a single woman again, but anyway, there you are, AP 64. It's wonderful that it's still here, I think. And there she is. That's a picture of her in glory. Anne Pembroke, Lady Anne Clifford, and she was living, of course, at the time at Pembroke. And there she is. She was a very good woman, she really was, and she was very generous to Ripon Cathedral. And I happened to know at one time a chap who was the custos, the head of the Virgins in Ripon Cathedral, called Dr. Foster. And he was kind enough to give me a copy of a letter that Anne Pembroke, down at the bottom there, had written to the Dean of Chapter of Ripon Cathedral with a presentation of £20 there towards the cost of dilapidations for the cathedral, which had been damaged very badly indeed by the collapse of the twin spires on top of what are now, of course, twin towers at the western end of the cathedral. They used each to be surmounted by a spire, but in the 17th century there was a huge storm and they collapsed into the choir, and they did the choir a bit of no good, I tell you. And so Anne Pembroke, bless her heart, gave £20 towards the dilapidations. Quite good, really. Your assured faithful friend, there. So here we are at High Street. There's High Street. We've come up eventually from the Maristang, and we're in the high country now. And there's my Mini, and there's the main road going over into Cumbria, down that way there. All that there is Cumbria, and down there is Wales. So use your imagination. See the two boundaries. This is the older of the two, 1859, I think is the date. The township of Nateby, there you are, Nateby there. 1856 rather, 1856. And then on the other one, as I say, that's us, that's a friend of mine, a young friend, very good chap indeed. I used to walk with him. He was a Richmond chap, and he came with me on a great many of my walks in those days, and there am I there. And that's the other boundary there, the Birkdale, the Birkdale, the township of Birkdale there, like that. And as I say, they overlap the length of land, 100 yards or so, was claimed by both of them. And away over there, you can see the snowy Lake District, way over there, about 30 miles away, I suppose, something like that. So here we are, and Hollow Mill Cross. This is a map, and about a couple of hundred yards beyond the boundary stones here, you see BS boundary stone. You'll see the beginning. There's a little signpost actually. There's a footpath that leads up from here, and it goes up like this, all the way up there, like that, eventually up to the top. I'll show you more of that later on. But what I'm showing you this for, primarily, in actual fact, is these rather interesting little landmarks. Lady Dyke Head, and that's called Lady Dyke. And there's Lady Dyke Foot, and there's Lady Bog. Why Lady Bog? I've never really quite. However, you can guess as I can who it was, who the lady was. Lady Anne Clifford, of course. Lady Anne Clifford would have been the one who had ordered these to take place, and they did. But what is the other jolly interesting thing about this? This is the main road coming up here, and you pass here some of these shake holes all the way along here. There are a lot of shake holes up here. They're not called shake holes up here. They're called coves, C-O-V-E-S, coves. And there's one here called Blue John holes. Now, why is it called Blue John? I'll tell you. I think the next picture will show you. I'll read it out. It's quite interesting, really. Hollow Mill Cross. But no cross exists now. In 1664, a packman, John Smith, was murdered nearby, but there was insufficient evidence to bring the felon to justice. Smith's body was apparently discovered in one of a series of limestone shake holes north of the road. Their name, Blue John Holes, probably commemorating the tragedy and indicating that his pack contained blue knitted stock being taken from Swaledale to Kirby Stevens. Now, isn't that interesting? So there, and the rest of it, I've already told you about that, the two boundary stones there. There we are. So there, and that's what it looks like. And there's my young friend there, from Richmond there. And I very stupidly got down into this because I thought I didn't know about this Blue John fellow, this John Smith chap. I thought the name Blue John Holes was taken from that wonderfully coloured fluorspar, which you get in the Derbyshire Peak District called Blue John. And you make wonderful ornaments with it and all kinds of things. It's sort of a blue rock. And so I thought, by gum, I'll go down here, I'll find some caves there with the walls of the cave glittering in blue. So I went down. I was very stupid because it's jolly difficult to get up, I tell you. But I did. And of course it's got absolutely nothing, I tell you. There wasn't even a body down there. So I didn't see anything, so probably nothing well. And so you walk along, as I say, 200 yards along the main road, and then you take your turn up right, and you start making your final plunge towards the Nine Standards. You pass these stone hags, H-A-W-S, a hag, limestone hags, and here they are, a whole lot of them. And you make your way around them, sort of zigzagging, to Lady Bog. Lady Bog there, the little blue patch of water, you see. And the dike, Lady Dyke, goes along there, and it goes all the way down, steeply down, to what's called Dukedale, or Dukedale, I don't know how you pronounce it. And you suddenly come across Dukedale in a minute. And first of all, you go up like this, and you see on top, on the skyline there, you see what looks like a castle or something. It isn't. It's a very good landmark path goes up there, like that, up there, like that, towards it there. And you pass Dukedale as well on your way up. There it is, Dukedale on your way up to that little coin advantage, really. You do see quite a lot. There it is. There's my young friend. And we had our lunch up there. There's my thermos there, for instance. Our little sandwiches and what have you. And you get a marvellous view from up here of the snowy district 30 miles away on the horizon. You see it going along there, like that. And down here, a mere 7 miles away, down there, is Kirby Stephen down there. And this, of course, is the end of Swaledale, sloping steeply down there towards Nateby, and eventually Kirby Stephen there. Wonderful. The vision of the snowy Lake District away over there, always reminds me of the Himalaya, the snowy Himalaya from our barracks in Rawalpindi. That's Rawalpindi there, and the snowy Himalaya range with Everest somewhere over there. I don't know where it is there, somewhere like that, blocking out the horizon. Wonderful view. Anyway, there you are. And so here is a little footpath from where we've just had our lunch there, like this, quite clearly marked, up onto 9 standards rig, of course, and that's 9 standards rig up there. Quite a hardish climb, but it's worth it when you get up there. Absolutely incredible. There. And there is your sudden, exciting view of the 9 standards above. There's my young friend there, and there are the 9 standards there. There. Wonderful. And you walk towards them, you trip along with lightsome step, and eventually you get close to them, and you anxiously count them to make sure there are 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yes. Who the deuce put that mark on top there? I ask you, look at that. Somebody must have clamped a walking stick or something up there and couldn't get it down again. But I don't know. It's wonderful. They've been up there since the time of Edward II, it's said. And they were up there at the time when the Scots had won the Battle of Bannockburn in 1317 or whatever it was. And of course they were marching down to the border and into England. And it is thought that these were put up to intimidate the Scots, make them think that the Swaledalers were absolute giants waiting for them there with drawn swords, because you can actually see them. That's the interesting thing, from down below you can actually see them. For instance, first of all, I'll just show you this because this is quite interesting. On one side, and once again, I feverishly counted these, and I counted 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I thought, by gum, I have a good mind to write to the Royal Geographic Society about this. However, there is a view due eastwards, and 5 miles away you can see Tan Hill there. I don't know whether you can see just above my little light there. Can you see the little white blob there, really? Right across to Tan Hill, and that Tan Hill Inn there. Now, the reverse view from Tan Hill, looking westward from Tan Hill, is also jolly interesting, because if you look at the edge there, you can see the 9 standards quite easily on the little ridge there. That's 9 standards ridge there, and you can see them there. Once again, of course, 5 miles from Tan Hill. And there you see, looking across, this is Stainmore here, Stainmore, there, Stainmore, and there's Brough Castle down there, and way over there is of course Crossfell, and the little golf ball there, which of course is the weather station on what they call Great Dun Fell, D-U-N, Dun, on that little lot there. Very interesting, really, I must say. And once again, if you go to Brough Castle, there's Brough Castle there. If you look at the highest point on this lot here, you will see quite plainly the 9 standards. There, up on there, on the highest point there. Can you see them? I don't know whether you can or not. But there you can imagine what the Scots must have felt like. God, we're not going up there. And there's a view there of Brough Castle with the original Norman castle, of course, there. And this is the A66, curving round in a great curve there, beautifully made road, really, a twin road there. The A66 on its way to Penrith, of course, there. And just below here is what they call Church Brough there. They make absolutely marvellous coffee there. Make super coffee. They really do. There's a view from the castle there. That's the castle. And there's a coffee shop in there. There. The coffee shop is there. Make your way to there, and it really is quite splendid, I tell you. And so here we are back again now, and this is the view looking down on High Seat, and my little car, you can just see it down there. There it is, you can just see it there. Little, tiny little mini, on the main road goes across there like that. Nateby down there, Swaledale down there, High Seat up there, and this is the beginning here of the Malastang, with Wild Boar Fell. That's Wild Boar Fell there, and this of course is High Seat here. And you can see also the limestone hags. You see the limestone hags there. So, I must show you this because it's quite interesting, really. I used to have a friend on the northwest frontier of India who used to write to me quite a lot, and his letters invariably ended with hoping you to be in fine feathers. You're the person of the Lance Naik Kafar Mohammed, 2nd Punjab Regiment. And there he is. That's Lance Naik Kafar Mohammed, a friend of mine, on the a very brave chap actually, on the front. So there you are. There's the last picture I have to show you. It's sunset, in fact, over the Malastang. I wish I could tell you the name of the little town there, but you know, it's got no name. If you look at your map, you'll see down south of Kirby Stevens, the road goes right past it there, but it's called Tarn, nothing else at all. Quite extraordinary, really. Anyway, there we are. And that's the end.
Hear every word, loads of information. What makes it so special is that wonderful sense of humour of yours that runs through it all. So, it's been quite a delightful evening. It's my pleasure on behalf of everybody here to say thank you very much for leaving us in. Thank you.
This evening needs absolutely no introduction. That's why I have such trouble to park my car. I think a lot of you did. And I don't want to talk any longer because I think we all should take our cue. I went to the Globe Theatre last month, and as you go into the Globe Theatre, you have the joy of going there. They offer you cushions, £1 a piece, and I think maybe we ought to take a tip from there. These queues get very hard, so you don't want to hear me, you haven't come to hear me, we come here and go for a walk in Everydale with Major Williams.
Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's marvellous to see you all, and I'm standing at the moment because I must see you, and otherwise I'm jolly well going to sit down and you will hear a sepulchral voice coming up from the dead in mine. I may as well tell you that to begin with, in case you wonder, and so yeah. It's wonderful to see you all, and to have the opportunity of being able to speak to you all on walking in Everydale, which really means a lot in the Yorkshire Dales, from Walkdale, which is where we start from, right up to Arkengarthdale, up at the top. And if you enjoy listening to me as much as I'm going to enjoy talking to you, you'll not have a bad evening in Britain. I'm going to sit down now, but don't think I've gone away because I'm jolly well. I'm going to be here to talk to you all. So, without more ado, we'll start, and I've got a very good colleague here in the shape of Hugh here, who is going to do the necessary operation. Most of my slides are in wonderful tea boxes, and here you see a little notion of what they look like. There they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 7 altogether, and they are in actual fact tea boxes made of teak, would you believe? The next picture, I think, will show you. Can you manage? There you are. There it is, you see. And there's the box. Vendonas, pure Darjeeling tea. And there are 100 tea bags like that. And the reason I do it as much as anything is it's a sort of a big family connection. My great-uncle Jasper was a Darjeeling tea planter, and he married the sister of my grandmother. I'm not to worry about all that. They lived in Calcutta, and while I was in India, they kept on wanting me to go down and visit them. They gave me their address, 2 Moira Square, Calcutta. And I kept on saying, I'd love to come, but I can't at the moment. I'm on the frontier and all the rest of it. I can't show it. But one of these days, I hope to be able to come down and see them, but I never did because the joy of the war, the last war, cropped up, and I was never able to see them, unfortunately. But Mr. Vendona, as you see there, the name there, was obviously a chap who really insisted on high quality stuff, very high quality tea. It really was real Darjeeling tea. And this next picture, I think, will give you some idea of the quality. Look at the little fastener. Just 100 tea bags. You can see there, 100 tea bags there, pure Darjeeling tea. And of course, in this box, every single batch of 100 tea bags had this beautifully made tea box here. Lovely. There's a lovely little partner, you see. And after you've used up the 100 tea bags, that's it. And naturally, that's also good and last. I mean, nowadays, 100 tea bags is in a thin cardboard box, isn't it? So, you know, the poor fellow went bust. Anyway, there you are. That's a little diversion as much as anything. Can you all hear me, by the way? Good. Next picture. So here we are, a walk in Everydale, and this shows you myself that I've taken a long, long year ago in the 1970s at the top of Buckton Pike. And Buckton Pike is one of the very few spots in the Dales, in the Yorkshire Dales, from where you're supposed to be able to see the Irish Sea at Morecambe Bay, and the North Sea at Eston Nab at Cheesemouth on the other side of Middlesbrough, Cheesemouth. So there, it's about 50 miles from here to Eston Nab, and it's about 38 miles or something like that to Morecambe Bay from here. The next picture will show you what it looks like there. And there you see Ingleborough, the flat-top Ingleborough there, and there's Penigent there on the left there, you see, and there's the gap there, and between those two there, you're supposed to be able to see Morecambe Bay. But to tell you the honest truth, I used to peer hopelessly into the blue. Time and time again, I've been up on Buckton Pike numerous times, and each time I've done the same thing. I've looked there from hopelessly through the gloom there, the blue there, and I've not been able to see either Morecambe Bay or Eston Nab or the North Sea. That's all. What you're looking at here is a rather super view from the top of Buckton, looking down there onto Home Church. You can just see it down bottom there. It is there. Lovely church. Now, one little point I must mention about this is that Home Church, the patron saint of it, is St. Michael. And all churches in the medieval time on hills or in islands were called St. Michael, the head of all the angels, of course, as you know, the chief of all the angels. And so that all churches on the top of hills and things like that, for instance, St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall and Mont Saint-Michel in France are cases in point. And this is St. Michael as well, because it's quite a long way up from Wharfdale down there, of course, that away, down there like that. Very interesting, and that's a lovely view there, looking down on the small hamlet of Hubble. Next picture. And this is a plastic map which I've got in my bedroom, actually, would you believe. It's not really much of a decoration, I suppose, really, but it's very, very interesting. I got hold of little bits of wool, as you see, and I stuck a pin in Buckton Pike there, and then I put it across to Morecambe Bay on that side there, and across there to Eston Nab. And it goes on the right-hand side of Pen Hill. You can see Pen Hill there, and just to the right of it, there's a glimpse, or should be a glimpse, of the North Sea, that away there, on the right-hand side of Pen Hill. And it goes between Penigent and Ingleborough on the other side here, between the two there, like that. This plastic map, incidentally, was produced by Oxford University with money provided by Barclays Bank. I mean, partnership than that, could you? I ask you. So anyway, there you are. Next picture. And here you are. You can see that this is a picture looking down into Walden. There's Walden there, from Buckton Pike up here. And there you see the great mass of Pen Hill, the back of it there, going along there, like that, as you see. And we're looking right across, as I say, into the dim mist there of Eston Nab. It's somewhere 50 miles away, down there somewhere. And I've often wished that I could see a little dark blue triangle there of sea, somewhere around about there, but I never have been able to. Now, if you try one of these days, you, ladies and gentlemen, you may have better luck than I ever did, and I hope you do. Anyway, now way over there, this is Walden, and we're not going to go down there, we're going to go down instead Bishopdale, down there, which is just over the top there, and it goes down over there, and that's where we're going to go from here, from Buckton Pike. So the next picture shows you Kidston Scar at the head of Bishopdale, and Bishopdale goes right the way down there like that, where it joins eventually Wensleydale, of course, way out over there like that. And this is Kidston Scar here. While I was up here at the time taking this photograph, I heard a pitiful baaing of a lamb. And I went to find out where this baaing was coming from, and the poor thing was wedged halfway down the cliffside there, at the little ledge there, you can just see. And round the corner, out of sight, was a lamb. And I went round to have a look at it, and I tried to reach it, but I couldn't. So I thought, well, my goodness, what can I do? So I thought, well, the only thing I can do is to run down to the farm, Smelter Farm down at the bottom there, and speak to Mr. Tuer, T-U-E-R, Tuer, the farmer there. And so I did that. Next picture. And there it is. And I ran down there like that, and there's the farm there, and I ran along there like that. And I said, Mr. Tuer, look here, one of the old lambs is stranded up there. I can't reach him. And he said, oh, that's all right, sir. We have a lasso here. We regularly have to rescue lambs on the Kidston Scar, and so he said, don't worry, leave it to us, and I'll have it in hand. Oh, that's all right, thank you very much. And so back I went again. So that was the end of that, you see. And I hope the little lamb was rescued in due course. I'm sure he was, actually, from Smelter Farm down there, like that. Next picture. So you go down Bishopdale, and one of the most interesting things that you see going down is the old school at Bishopdale. And it's a very old-fashioned school indeed, and it used to have at one time one classroom for boys there and one classroom for girls there now, two separate entrances as you see there, like that. But when I took this photograph, of course, it was just gone out of commission. It wasn't being used anymore. But I peered in through the window there to have a look and to see what it looked like. Next picture, and you'll see here, there are the old-fashioned forms, you see, with the little holes in the desk for the ink pots. You see there, ink pots there, and the school boys here were provided with pens, of course, and they had their copybooks. The copybook headings, and they learnt to read and write on those desks there, like that. And it was all there, still waiting, I suppose, eventually to be thrown away. So I'm jolly thankful that I was able to get this photograph of the desks in a recognizable condition still. Outside, next picture. There. they had them there, you see, one largest hole for the boys, presumably. There they were. And it put me in mind very much of a marvellous book I've got. I bought it many years ago, and it was a bestseller in its day, and it was called Lem Putt Specialist. The next picture shows you what it was. There you are. Lem Putt Specialist. And there he is. That's a picture of him there with his wife and family. His wife there and family there. Funny looking pair there. They're American, of course, the old USA. And he was the chap who specialized in producing lavatory seats. The next picture shows you what he used to do. Atola! Elmer Ridgway was down and looked it over. And he come to me one day and says, Lem, I've seen that atoll job you've done down there at the corners, and it sure is a dandy. And figuring as how I'm going to build on the old Robinson property, I thought I'd ask you to kind of estimate on a job for me. You come to the right man, Elmer. I'll be out as soon as I get the roof on the two-seater. I'm putting up for the sheriff. Oh, goodness. Right. So you come down a bit further. The road is down over there. You see, the road is over there. And you see what must be the largest folly in the world. It's a bank, as you see there, a grassy bank there, the side of Bishopdale in actual fact. And it consists of the name Lodge, L-O-D-G-E, in 5 plantations. Now, it was like this in the first half of the last century, i.e. 1900 to about 1950, I suppose, or something like that. L, O, and the D run the wrong way, as you see. G and E, well, it's not really recognizable as an E at all. But it was for the Lodge family, who were landowners round here, and they owned all that land, obviously. And the place, it was called the Rockery, and it's just down there, under the bank there. The next picture, I think, will show it to you. Oh no, before in here. We go, the nearest village to here was Thorolby, a place called Thorolby. And it was the Jubilee Memorial Hall there, and the foundation stone here was laid by Miss Lodge of the Rookery there, not the Rockery, the Rookery there, like that, in 1885, you see, Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. And Miss Lodge was, I think, probably the last of the line, I should say. Anyway, the next picture will show you the roof there of the Rookery. There it is there, you see, facing the Lodge, once again there, the Lodge Folly, L-O-D-G-E there. And in the grounds here, that's the park there, you see, Rookery Park there. And the drive goes up there like that to the road. There's the road going along there, down Bishopdale there. And in the park there is a rather unusual gravestone. The next picture will show it you. There, Edna, 19th Regiment. It's a horse, of course. Edna the horse there, of the 19th Regiment there, who died in 1912. She was obviously the mount of Colonel Lodge, who then was in the Green Hounds. That's what the 19th Regiment is, the 19th of Foot, the Green Hounds. And presumably he commanded a battalion of the Green Hounds, and his charger, his horse, is buried here like that. But it's quite unusual. Under a tree, there's the tree, you see. Very interesting, really. Next picture. And so you come down, and this is me, would you believe? I'm fooling the camera, and I'm taking a close-up picture of that thing there. It's a memorial tablet on what is known as the Wellington Bridge in Bishopdale. And this is the main Bishopdale Road coming down here like this. I took it, as you can see from the shadows, very early in the morning, so there was no traffic on it at all. Just as well, really. And, but what is so interesting about it is that this bridge was built by a chap called Lord Rookery, the 4th Lord Rookery, who lived in Littleburn, just off the picture here. I'll show it to you in a minute. And he built this bridge in the year 1815. Now, 1815, as you know, was the year of the Battle of Waterloo, fought by Wellington. And so this bridge was dedicated to Wellington, and the dedication tablet is what I'm taking a photograph of. There am I, and I'm taking a photograph close-up of the dedication tablet there, like that. The next picture, I think, will show you. There it is, and it's in Latin, and in front it's Sola in Deo Salus. In God alone is security there, on top there. And then the Latin dedication here to Wellington, and I think you will see, if you can make it out, you probably won't be able to, Wellingtonio, Wellington, on the 5th line down there, Wellington, it would be difficult to see, but it's there. And it was dedicated to Wellington on this Wellington Bridge. Unfortunately, during the couple of hundred years, jolly nearly, since it was put there. It's been subjected to a lot of bashing around. You can look at that. A lorry bashed into it there and there as well. So it suffered a lot of damage. And I think what they've done now is to put a sort of a transcription up there now. Unfortunately, the person who did all the characters and everything, didn't know very much Latin, so there's quite a lot of phony looking Latin on this new inscription. But the next picture, I think, will show you Littleburn. There it is, there's a name there on the front there, Littleburn. There's a rather jolly house lying back from the bridge here. And in fact, there's a retired RAF wing commander who lives there now. No, I think he's a group captain, for goodness sake. Anyway, he lives there, and we went there. Our club, our walking club, went there for a walk once. And the next picture, I think, will show you a wonderful one, a group picture of all our walkers. I tell you, we used to go all over the place, and there's Littleburn there. We've done all these dales, I tell you, our walking club. And here we all are here, as we were, I think in 1991 or something like that, about 10 years ago. Wonderful. Good souvenir that. I'm sure quite a lot of them will still have the print as a little keepsake, a little memento as it were. Next picture. And here we are again. This was taken in 1995 at the top of Cassica Gill. And it was a very, very hot August in 1995. And Cassica Gill, the steep Cassica Gill, goes down there, down below there like that, as you can see. And this is the Dow Cave down there, almost sheer, precipitous drop down there, and we're right on the edge of it here. But look at the wonderful hats we're wearing. Aren't they beautiful? All of them there. Where do they come from, do you think? Ascot? In actual fact, they could well have come from Harrods. I've got a marvellous catalogue of the Harrods goods dated 1912. And this next picture shows you what it looks like. Harrods for everything. Absolutely enormous. And there's Harrods, much as it is at the moment, in Brompton Road, London, there. And there are thousands and thousands of things in that 1912 catalogue, from motor cars downwards. And in this catalogue, in fact, are wonderful ladies' hats. The next picture will show you. Look at the millinery department, 59 and 6, and 3 guineas, and so, I mean, the price. There they are, well-nourished looking females.
Well-nourished.
Next picture. And here, the toy department. There you are, what do you think of that? 31 and 6 for that, well, a jolly looking thing there. 72 and 6 for that. And there they all are, rubber-tired wheels, brakes, and of course, in those days, a starting handle. You had to have a starting handle. Not that it made the engine go round, wasn't any engine, but look at it, aren't they lovely? Things there. Anyway, toy department there, as it was in 1912. And of course, the next picture gives you something of the gentleman's department. And there you see Wolf's helmet there. And there, the Shikar helmet there, look at that. And quite cheap, 17 and 6 there. And there's another one, 23 and 6 there. And the ladies' one as well, the Madras. And so forth. Wonderful hat, gentlemen's hat and ladies' hat. Well, I used to wear a Wolseley helmet, would you believe, in years gone by. And the next picture, I think, will show you. Now that's a picture of us on parade there, and I'm number 4 in the front rank, would you believe? Number 4, there I am, and wearing my Wolseley helmet, as we all are, you see. They were regulation in those days, and we were being inspected there by the GOC Northern Command, India. I i.e. the northwest frontier. That's really what it was. And shortly after this, we were due to go up onto the frontier itself. Next picture. And so here we are, back again, Cassica Gill. And you see these cool-looking sheep here, practically on the very edge there, the perpendicular edge, looking down into the Dow Cave, D-O-W, Dow Cave. That's it, at the head of Cassica Gill. It's at the top end of Coverdale, and you get to it by going to the very top, parking your car, and then walking down the footpath that leads right down past the slot here. And if you ever go there, you can't go now, of course, but if you ever go, don't choose a hot August day as we did, because it really is quite terrible, I think. Next picture. And so here we are, and the Dow Cave is up there, and we've come down that footpath that you see there like that, and we're coming up here as well, down, still continuing on down Cassica Gill. It leads down eventually into Wharfdale and Kettlewell. And Kettlewell is away out over there somewhere. So we go on up, next picture. And here we're up at the top here now, on our way back again. Cassica Gill is in fact way over there like that. But what is so dramatic here is the Tor Dyke, T-O-R, Tor Dyke, going across there like that. It was built by the Brigantes, a great northern tribe, against the invading Romans. And the Roman legions were marching up the Roman road, which is still there, Wharfdale, and they could look down on the road coming up from there, from the top there, the Tor Dyke there, which protected Coverdale. So you'll never see any Roman remains in Coverdale itself, because the Brigantes made jolly sure that no Romans were going to storm the ramparts there of Tor Dyke like that. They kept them out. So the Roman legions, the next picture will show it you, there. They came up here like this, and instead of being able to go up there and storm into Coverdale, they had to keep on coming up like this, like that, from the bottom there. 3 miles away is the Kilnsey Crag. You can't really see it awfully well. No, it's there. Kilnsey Crag, can you see it? Just overshadowing the main road there, up from Bradford and so on, at the bottom there. And this is where the Roman legions were marching up there like that, in full view, of course, of the watching Brigantes. Lord Byron has got a marvellous couple of 2 or 3 lines on this. The next picture, I'll read it out to you. It's quite fun, really. The Assyrian came down like the wolf on the fold, and his cohorts were gleaming in purple and gold, and the sheen of their spears was like stars on the sea when the blue wave rolls nightly on deep Galilee. Like the leaves of the forest when summer is gone, is green. That host with their banners at sunset were seen. Like the leaves of the forest when autumn has blown, that host on the morrow lay withered and strown. Well, there you are, Lord Byron's picture of an advancing army. I do think it hits off the vision of the Roman legions marching up Wharfdale pretty well, really. Next picture. And so here we are at the top, looking back on Great Whernside and the giant cloud shadow creeping up over the Tor Dyke. There's the Tor Dyke. And our cars, you can't really see them awfully well, but they're there on the road, just about there, the cars that we came up with. And our footpath coming down, comes down alongside that wall, and then it goes on there like that, right across there. And that is the top of Coverdale, as I say, there. Next picture. And this is the way the Romans made their road eventually, carefully missing out Coverdale, of course, and it came up here like this. In fact, that's the Roman road. there, coming along there like that. But this is the main road, coming up past a little hamlet there called Cray, C-R-A-Y, Cray. And there's Wharfdale down over there, you see. And this, of course, are the slopes here of Buckton Pike, way out over there somewhere, right there, somewhere around about there. Pretty high up, what they do. And this is Cray, as I say, and the road comes up here, and eventually, this is called the Rake here, Buckton Rake, and it joins up with the road there eventually. And it goes on from there, right over the top, the Stake Road it becomes in actual fact. The next picture. And there it is. That's the Roman road. You're going up there. This is a view taken once again from Buckton Pike. And there's the Roman road, the Stake Road there, like that, going all the way down, eventually, of course, to Bainbridge. And it's called the Stake Road because at one time, in the heavy winters we used to have, we haven't had any really heavy winters for a long time, have we? We're jolly lucky, really, because at one time there was a 6-foot fall of snow over the Stake Road here, and there were stakes every so often, something like 12 feet high, to indicate where the road was. Otherwise you'd never see it, just a blank whiteness and nothing else. But there, you came over here and there was a stake there, and so on, all the way across there. And a very, very wild part of the country. And you come right down into Wensdale and, of course, Adelbruff, which is somewhere over there. I think the next picture will probably show it you. Yes, there's Adelbruff at the head of Wensleydale. We've come down as far as Wensleydale now. And there you see the Stake Road coming down, majestically down, eventually to Bainbridge, of course, where it joins the other Roman road coming up from Lancaster, where the Romans had another fortress at Lancaster, of course, and they joined at Bainbridge, where there was a Roman fortress again there to guard their sort of line of march, as it were. Anyway, what we're going to do now is to climb Adelbruff. We're going to climb that, believe me, and the next picture will show you what we look like. Here we are, coming up here, all of it in line ahead, you see, and up at the top there, you can just see a little cairn there, a curragh, a pile of stones there, indicating the summit of Adelbruff, from where you get the most magical view of up and down Wensleydale, I tell you, it's absolutely marvellous. But this sort of vision like this puts me in mind very much of our line of march, not only up Adelbruff like this, but on the, once again, the northwest frontier. I'm sorry about this one. Next picture, and there, rather similar. And we're not wearing our Wolseley helmets, you see here. They're for best wear. These are what we just used to call pith helmets, that's all. P-I-T-H, pith. And here we all are, marching in, they were all Indian. This is the 2nd Indian Infantry Brigade. They were infantry who fought their way through, and there were 4 infantry battalions, and only one little lot of British, us, here, this little lot here. There were 40 of us, and that's all there were. And here we are going up there, a footpath, all the way up over what they call the Kujajanta Khan, which means, in Pushtu, it means the Lord knows where mountain. well described, I tell you. Next picture. And here we are, we're going up Adelbruff. Now I'll tell you a jolly interesting thing up here. I thought I saw an arrow there, you see, there was an arrow there, and I thought, by gum, this is jolly thoughtful of the Dales National Park. They're actually showing us a little arrow there to show where the top of Adelbruff is, up on top there. There it is there. I thought, goodness me, I didn't think the Dales National Park would be so sympathetic to people like us. But anyway, I had these warm thoughts towards the Dales National Park, all the way up to there. And then, when we got up there, next picture, I saw what it was. Shame. What had come down, the remains of a poor dead sheep. So we got up on top, and up on top, next picture, we had a most superb view. There we are, that's some of us anyway, up on top there. And wonderful views all the way around. And we had, at one time, two little French girls. There they are in front there. One was Dominique and the other was Beatrice. And they used to come regularly. I used to ask them, what exactly are you studying here, you see? And they said, oh, we're studying the monasteries of England. And I thought, well, by gum, you won't find many monasteries in Swale there. But anyway, they came with us for quite a long time. And they used to write me a little birthday card, in French, of course, every year for my birthday. It was very nice, very sweet to me. But eventually, they probably learned all they wanted to know about the monasteries of England. we never saw them anymore. Next picture. Now this gives you some idea of the marvellous panoramic views that you get from Adelruff. And there you see, 6 miles away, is Bowden Castle. There's Bowden Castle there. And even further away, something like 17 miles, if you measure it on the map, are the quarries, the stone quarries of Leyburn. Look at that, way out over there, almost on the horizon there. And that's, as I say, something like 17 miles away, looking down Wensleydale here. And this is Nab End up here, near at hand. So what we're going to do now is to go down to Bowden Castle, where we'll have a grandstand view of Pen Hill across there. Next picture. And there is Pen Hill. There's a great mass there of Pen Hill right across there, like that. And this is taken from the bell tower of Bowden Castle. And a bell was rung in the little belfry here from the chapel. There was a rope that went right down to the bell there, and it rang the bell there for services. They had pretty frequent services, I tell you, in those days. But that gives you some idea of the relationship between Bowden Castle there and the Pen Hill, which is where we're going to climb up. Next picture. And so here we all are, once again, all our walkers here, lined up, ready for the final assault. Sounds like it, like it. And here we all are, waiting to go up there, assembled, ready. We've come up from the bottom there, from West Whitton actually, up here, a very muddy track as you see, and we've followed this track here, up here. Next picture. And here we are on our way up there. There's a track there going up there, you see. And there is Fleet Lane down the bottom there, like that. And the caravan camp there, the caravan site there, down there, above West Whitton. And West Whitton is way out over there, and there's Bowden Hall, set way up down there in the woods there, with the woods of Bowden Hall behind there, like that. And of course, Wensley is even further out and way over there, like that. So it's a good panoramic view there that we have, and that's, as I say, Fleet Lane going along there like that, which eventually joins West Whitton down below, hidden below the bank there. You can't see West Whitton very well. So we're going up here, and we're going up to the top there. Next picture. And here we all are, looking very smug and pleased with ourselves, pretty sort of congratulating ourselves, patting ourselves on the back that we've got to the very top. And you can see us all here. You may well recognize some of us here, we've been like this for a very, very long time, I tell you. Do you know, our first walk was in 1987, in May 1987, and we've been together ever since. which is quite something when you come to think of it. I'll tell you another thing. This is the little curragh on top there, very well built indeed, but there is my hat. And when we went down, I clean forgot to pick it up, and I left it up there. And when we got back down to West Britain again, I said, by gum, I've left my hat up there. And two of our walkers said, we'll go and get it for you. And they jolly well did. They came all the way back up here again, rescued the hat from there, and came back and gave it. Now, wasn't that wonderful? Next picture. So here we are, and we're coming down again, waving goodbye, as you see there, and coming down the same way we went up there. Wonderful place for a picnic lunch, I tell you, which is what we always do on our walks, our monthly walks. Next picture. Now, the next one is up into probably the remotest dale of them all, except Cassiger Gill, and it's Cotterdale. And again, it's a most exciting dale, it's Cotterdale. And we start from Hardraw. This is Hardraw here. And at one time, this house here on the right here used to be the vicarage of Hardraw Parish and Lunds. And Lund is away over on the other side of Cotter End, that's Cotter End there. And in order to get to it, the vicar of Hardraw and Lunds used to start from the vicarage here after lunch, and he'd say goodbye dear to his wife when he'd had his lunch. He'd walk all the way up over there, down over to Lunds Church, and he'd take an evening service every Sunday. And back again, walking back the same way, back to here. And he did wonderfully well. And he was vicar of Hardraw and Lunds for a matter of 20-odd years. Marvellous man. His name was Robert Pink, P-I-N-C-K, rather an unusual name really. But that's where he lived there. Next picture. So I walk here with my young friend. I used to have a chap I used to go walking with long before before our walking club. And here he is here, Jonathan Vokes, V-O-K-E-S, an unusual name. He lived in Richmond. And here he is, and we're coming up from Hardraw, and this is the track you took there, like that. And it's where the Reverend Robert Pink went, this way here, up onto Cotter End, up on top. Next picture. Oh, right. Well done. Now, I'm always thankful when it works, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, because the times when it hasn't worked are innumerable. So here we are, we're up on top, and one of the nice things that you do see is a lot of wildlife. And here is a lapwing, peewit, in other words, in plain English. It's called a peewit up in these parts anyway. And here he is, looking a bit fed up with life, I must say. And I think that's a cock peewit, probably, and he's been thrown out.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that. But anyway, the next picture shows you what the nest looks like. Look at that. They almost always lay 4 eggs. So the job is not yet completed, as you see. But the remarkable thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's very, very hard to spot because of the camouflage. You see how wonderfully clever the camouflaging here is. Where did I put my somewhere. Oh, thank you very much, Hugh. Good. There. You can see here how beautifully blended into the colour scheme generally the eggs are. You see blotches here, little blotched shadows, and there are little blotched shadows here, you see, all over, like that, leading the eye to goodness knows where. And you never really see the eggs properly until you are focused on them, as we are now. We can see them now. But if you were walking across here like that, the chances are that you'd never spot it. And yet it's open to the sky completely like this all the time. Wonderful, really. Anyway, there you are. We passed it by, and now the next picture will show you the wonderful view that you have of the edge there, looking down Cotter Edge here. Now, I'm leading a walk with the Wensleydale Society. They're a sort of rival crowd. And we were coming along here, this way here, and on the right, if you look at your map, at the bottom left-hand corner of your Swaledale map, you will see this track here, Cotter Edge here, and it says line of shake-holes. Line of shake-holes along there like that. There are quite a lot of them. And the shake-hole, as you know, is a natural hole in the ground, really, varying anything from 6 feet deep to 18, 20, 30 feet deep, like the butter tubs, for instance. They're a good example. And they're rather like that, and not quite as deep as the butter tubs, but going all the way along there. And we in the Wensleydale Society had just had our lunch. We'd had a picnic lunch at the far end of this path here, like you can see. And there was a strong wind blowing, this gale force wind, and I was leading them, and I was trying to tell them about these shake-holes and about Cotterdale generally, you see, shouting against the wind, and every now and then turning my face towards them, hoping they'd all hear. And then all of a sudden, I turned my head round, and there was not a soul here. They'd all gone. Oh my goodness. Of course, it was just after lunch, you see. And they'd all disappeared, each one down a separate...
You get rid of them.
And the penny. So I had to wait. I just sat here on the edge here until they'd all reassembled. We can start again, I tell you, it was terrible. But anyway, way down over there, the next picture will give you some idea of what it used to look like. There, and that's Cotterdale down there. And there is Cotterdale Town. There's Cotterdale Town there, you see. With only one farm there in Cotterdale, the River Cotter. There's the River Cotter going through it like that. And you go back up on the other side there towards Lund's Church, which is way out over the top there like that. So we plunged down, there's a sort of a zigzag down there, down to Cotterdale Town to see the one solitary farmer and his wife down at the bottom here. Next picture. And there they are, Cotterdale Farm and Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Metcalfe. There they are. And he had just finished taking the two children to school. And of course the nearest school was Hawes. And what he had to do was to take his Land Rover to the main road, the main Hawes-Sedberg Road actually, which is where the school bus used to stop there to collect the children of outlying farms like this one, Cotterdale Farm. And so there they are. We've been there, we've been here, our own walking club, once or twice, and we saw him once, old Ernest Metcalfe here, fishing in the river. And of course he regularly used to do that, why not? Next picture. Now, this is a 6-inch map of Cotterdale Town, and it shows you the road, the main road, and the river, of course, the River Cotter going through here. And at one time, there used to be a Methodist chapel there as well. Now, they couldn't bury people here, and so there was a corpse way which led from the Methodist chapel there right over to the burying ground at Lund's Church over the top here of Tarngill Edge. And there's a footpath that comes along here, you can see FP footpath from the farm, there's the farm there, and it comes across there to S for stepping, you see, S stones, you see there, stepping stones it means. There are stepping stones over West Gill there, this is West Gill here, like that. And it goes on there, as you see, over the stepping stone. You have to get over them onto the footpath that goes along there and up over Town Fell, up over the top there. And so here we are, we're going along, and we came along this way, our walking club, on a very, very stormy day. And you'll show, the next slide will show you what happened. One of our walkers, John Colston, carrying little Emma across. We had 3 little girls then. They were all little ones, about 12 or something like that. And of course, there was a stormy west gill here, as you see, and here are the stepping stones here. Not really, they'd been washed away, most of them. So here, John Colson doing his St. Christopher act, taking them across there. You see. He used to live in Reeth at the time, and was one of our walkers. Next picture. And there's the view that you get from the other side. This is where the line of Shakehold is, down there, you see. No, down there rather, like that. The line of Shakehold. And what we do, or what we did, was to come down the steep bank here to Cotterdale Town and up the other side to Cotter End and Town Fell up at the top. Next picture. And here we all are at the top of Town Fell here, and Wild Boar Fell in the distance there, outlined there, Wild Boar Fell, and the Mallerstang there, where the Settle Carlisle Railway runs, of course, along there, like that, the Settle Carlisle Railway. And here are all our walkers here, like that, and John Colson is there, you see, and little Emma, there's little Emma there. The other 2, I don't know where they are, but there were 2 other little walkers as well, 2 little girls. Next picture. And so here, at last, is our first site there of London's Church and the infant River Ure, the Salter River Ure there, comes along down there like that, and comes down the Mallerstang eventually. There's the Mallerstang, you see, in the distance there, and the railway there, and London's Church is down there. And you thread your way down the same way that the Reverend Robert Pink went. He came round that way like that, and down there to the church there, like that. It's got no dedication. There's no patron saint of it at all. It looks really, as you can see from here, it looks rather like a little barn, really, a little cow barn or something in the middle of a vast field here, which of course is the churchyard, with about a dozen gravestones in it, like that. Rather like Hurst Chapel, up on Hurst here, not far from here, where the Hurst Methodist Chapel has only got about 4 gravestones in it, lined up along the road, and this is rather similar. Yeah, next picture. So here we are, inside London's Church, and some rather jolly little 18th century pews with nice little newel knobs, as you see there, which you gratefully, or I would anyway, gratefully grasp as I tried to lift myself up from them like that. And a nice little harmonium, little organ there, and they had a little reading desk there with hymns, ancient and modern, open with all the tunes, of course, as well. They're ready. But it's closed now. London's Church, I believe, is shut for good. I'm not sure. I hope it's not, but I really rather am afraid it is. And what's going to happen to all this beautiful interior, I have no idea. Anyway, there you are. Next picture. So here we are, we're back again now, and this is on the slopes of Adelruff, and we are looking not only at Napa Hall, there's Napa Hall there, but we are also looking at the Ellerkin there, which again is the boundary between Wensleydale on this side here and Swaledale on the far side, away over there, like that. And what we're going to do is to go along the road to Muka, and the next picture shows you something else entirely. My dear wife, there she is, I'm glad to say, she used to walk up until about 1975 or something like that. I used to take her on walks, and here we are up on the Ellerkin. And there she is sitting down there, and she's looking at a millstone. And it was a jolly phony millstone, carved, as you see, beautiful circle there, lovely central hole, all ready for mounting. But the thing, the unprintable word for it, was that it cracked right across where my wife's sitting there, my wife Emma there, she's sitting. There's a huge crack right across from the edge there to the centre, so it was no good. And it was left here. And it's there still as a sort of a landmark on the top of the Ellacane. Anyway, now the next picture shows you again another view, this time from Aberbrugh, looking down onto Ascrig. And there you see all there is to see, practically all there is to see anyway, of Ascrig. And it includes the West End there, and the little church, you can see the church there, St Oswald there, and the roads going up. One road goes that way, there, like that, eventually to Rees, there, like that, and the other wild road goes that way there, over Ascrig Common, up on top there, it goes over to Newcombe, that way there. Now, it's a very rough road even now, at the best of times, but just imagine what it must have been like, shall we say, at the time of Waterloo, the Battle of Waterloo, say 1819 or something like that. At home, I've got a wonderful book dated 1819, and it's a book of words and phrases in English and French and Italian. It's meant for what they used to call the Grand Tour, and they used to do, people, money used to go there around Europe, generally France and Italy and so forth. And they could have this wonderful book with them, you see, and it gives you some idea of what the conditions were when I show you, first of all, the first picture, there. The Traveller's Pocket Companion by Madame de Genlis, there it is, 1819. And this is a rather jolly little handbook here, you see, with words and conversations in English, French and Italian, there, like that. Manuel du Voyage, there, like that. Next picture. So here we are, and this is Dialogue 6. Inquiries on a journey which cannot be otherwise performed than in a sedan, or chair, or on mules, and there. And then the conversation, this agitated woman, Madame de Genlis or whoever, says, and is the road very dreadful? Yes, it is very narrow and bordered with precipices. Oh, whoopee, next picture. Next picture. Here, on speaking to the postilion on the road, and you know what a postilion is, don't you? It's the chap who used to ride the pony in front on a two-horse carriage or something like that. And here she is, the proper madam speaking here. Harkee, driver, drive on. Next picture. Just imagine you saying this to your husband driving the car. Harkee, driver.
Yeah, she does.
Drive on at a good pace when the road is good, but be careful when wheeling about, etc. I shall, in that case, give you something handsome to drink. Otherwise, I shall only give you your fixed wages. Next picture. Right. And lastly, we have here, just shows you how things have changed, doesn't it? This is what you have to say, with a tailor and a mantua maker. I bet you don't know what a mantua maker is. Well, he used to make mantuas or ladies' dresses. And it tells you there, says you, could you make a suit out of this stuff? Anyway, there you are. That gives you some idea of what you have. And it's a jolly entertaining book, I tell you. I've had many good little private laugh from that time, I tell you. Next picture. So here we are, at last, after many an adventure, we have arrived at Muka. And there's a jolly wonderful view, I always think, there, of the road coming down there, as you see, from eventually over the top here, coming down here like that. And there it is going along there, past Muka, there's Muka there, and the little church of St. Mary there, as you see. And what we do here is to start from Muka, and you walk through what they call the show field, and you come down here, there's the show field, you see, and there's a little stile there, no, there it is, I think, there, somewhere. So you come down through the show field there, like that, across there, to the river. You see the river there, the river Swale, of course, there. Next picture. And you come, eventually you come along to a very good view here of Swinnergill. And here you see a view here showing Mr. Scott of Kiston Farm, there he is there, and the sheepdogs doing what you might call really an almost superhuman task. There's one sheepdog there, you can just see him there, and the sheep there, another sheep there, there's another one somewhere in, quite a lot of sheep down here as well, and there's another sheepdog, that's one sheepdog there, and I think the other one is down there, like that, and you can see the sheep, one there, one perched on top there, one there. How they get all up, I don't know. There's Mr. Scott there, on the footpath there, you see, that goes all the way along Ivelet side here, back to Kiston Farm, where he farmed, or he did then in those days. And I waited here, like this, and I sort of shouted across to him now and again, Mr. Scott there, and he waited and waited until the sheepdogs had got all the sheep, every single one of them, up on the little footpath there, in line ahead, with one sheepdog on one side and the other sheepdog on the other side there, and Mr. Scott there, waiting until they were all ready. And they all went off there as good as gold, the whole lot with the two dogs, one on either side, and Mr. Scott there behind them all. And I tell you, it was a wonderful sight to see in Swinnergill there, the top end of Swinnergill. Ivelet side, really. Next picture. And here you come across, eventually, you come round Kiston Fell, Kiston itself, and you come to, hello, what's that doing? Oh yes, there we are. And that, of course, is Crackpot Hall. They've done quite a bit of patching up in Crackpot Hall now, I'm glad to say. But it fell. The central bay, like that, fell suddenly because underneath it was a riddled collection of lead mining, all lead mining, only about 30 feet down. And the foundations were insufficient to hold up. And so this house here, Crackpot Hall, which was built in the reign of Queen Anne, 1702, it fell, and that was the end of it. But it was at one time Lord, anyway, him. And he was there, and of course he had to give up eventually. And the house there is really a wonderful monument still of Upper Swaledale. Next picture. And here we come down eventually to East Gill, and East Gill Foss there, and you come down the road there, and there's a little fallen tree there, and here we are, we're all coming up here, as you see, to have our Dingley Dell there, our little picnic lunch there, alongside the East Gill there, East Gill, okay, right up there, right up the top. And the Swale is deep down here in Kiston Gorge, right down at the bottom there. Next picture. And so here we are, we come to Keld, and then we go back over Kiston Fell again, and here we are coming back from the top there, there's Swinnergill, and you remember where the shepherding took place up over there. And we're coming back now, and we're going down to Ramsholm Bridge, which is the next picture. And there you get a wonderful view here from Kiston Fell, looking down on Swaledale, going along there, like that. Just round the corner is Muka, just round the corner there, like that. And the bridge across the stormy River Swale is there. You can just see it there. And the footpath coming down across the show field and down there, comes along there like that, down there, and crosses there into across the bridge. Next picture. And there it is, the Ramsholm Bridge. And what we can do here is to go along here like this, if you like, that way there. Next picture. Now what we're doing here is going along through Arkengarthdale, and this is Thorndale, and these are the woods here, going along here, the wonderful pine forest here, deep there, pine trees of sorts, I think, and the Arkle Beck is down along there like that. Now at one time there was a wonderful heronry here, and it was one of two heronries, one in Arkengarthdale here. You often used to see the herons flying down the dale, high up, looking a sharp eye, keeping a sharp eye on everything, I tell you, all the way down, to another heronry, which was below Marrick in Swaledale. So one in Arkengarthdale here, and one in Swaledale. But they've both been shot off, and I think it's dreadful really, but on the other hand, you see they were fish eaters, and of course they were poaching the fish, I suppose, rotten really. Personally, I'm all against it, but anyway, there it is. And so there's no longer a heronry here up in the trees there, and there's no longer a heronry either in Swaledale, I'm sorry to say. So we're going along here like that, and the next picture shows you a little further down, and that's Park Hall there, like that, you see. And it's the third of the shooting lodges, really, that were built at that particular time. Thomas Walton was his name. Next picture. And there he is. And there's the name. The name Lord Thomas Walton there, as you see there. 1700, all built about the same time. Now, this here is a great friend of mine who is now no longer with us, unfortunately, I'm sorry to have to say, Alec Alderson. And there he is, he used to farm there. It was a Park Hall. This is Park Hall here, the front door of Park Hall. And Alec Alderson used to farm here for many a long year. And eventually he retired. And one day, after he had retired, he used to do fishing down on the River Swale. And he phoned me up in great excitement. He said, "Major, would you like to come down and take a picture of me? I've just caught a 2-pound trout in the river, and I'd like you to take a picture of me, if you will, holding the trout outside my front door." This was on a Sunday morning. So I said, "Righto, I'll be down in 20 minutes. So the next picture shows it. There he is. Alec Alderson holding his 2-pound trout. Quite a big fish, really. And that's it. And there's his little bungalow there in Helaw, where he eventually retired. He's passed on, I'm sorry to say now, but that's a quite good picture of it. And I gave him an enlarged picture of himself as a little souvenir, which he had framed and put on the mantelpiece. Next picture. And this is a rather amusing letter I cut out of the Daily Telegraph one day, not long ago, 18 something or other, no, 19 or other. I'll read it out to you. An impudent otter. "Sir, recently I was fishing the River Swale near Helaw, Yorks. While casting a fly, I noticed an otter observing me from a boulder on the edge of the river. He was about 15 yards from me and only 3 feet from where my fly was landing on the water. As I made another cast, the otter dived in and surfaced almost immediately with a 6-inch trout in his mouth, the one I had been fishing for, and disappeared. It was the first time that I had seen an otter in its natural state. Herbert Frith Autumn. So there you are. A little atmospheric detail for you. Next picture. And so here you are. Here's the River Swale, and there's Calver Hill, the snowy Calver Hill behind you, and of course Helaw as well down over there. And this is the Reith Swing Bridge, which of course is now no more. It's been washed away. But as you can see, it was a very, very handsome bridge indeed in its day. It needed a coat of paint, mind you, every so often to keep it that way. But it really was a jolly handsome bridge, and it rocked like mad when you were on it as well. In fact, that's one of the reasons why it got washed away, I don't know. But it was built originally for the children of the families on Harkerside to go to school. Hitherto there was a very rickety sort of bridge of planks this side, just across there, just the planks only, and they used to sort of keep their balance as they ran across the planks there up to school on that side there. The school's still there, but unfortunately the jolly old bridge has gone, and we hope that they're going to build another one exactly similar to this in due course when they've got the money. Next picture. And here you see under the bridge, there's the Swing Bridge, as you see. Here we are, balanced on the ice, for goodness sake. Taken a few years ago, but you can see several of us here are intrepid walkers still there. And while I was taking the picture, I suddenly heard a crack. You should have seen them run. Oh dear. Next picture. Now, up on top here, looking up from Reith really, you'll see here Harkerside and Harkertop up on top there, there's Harkertop there, and Bleak House up there, and the Cow House down below there. It was a scene of a great tragedy many, many years ago now, and Marjorie Longstaff, she was a Calvert, was born there, and when she married a chap called Kit Longstaff, and Kit, her husband, came down one day before breakfast, came down to the Cow House here to let out a bull. He had a bull here, and unfortunately he shut the door behind him, and the bull saw him and killed him. Had him up against the wall, and that was the end of poor old Kit Longstaff. And it was very sad really, and Marjorie Longstaff only found it out when he didn't come back up for breakfast. She went down to have a look and see what had happened, and of course that's what had happened down at the Cow's House here. So eventually the only ending possible was carried out, and the next picture shows you. Oh, first of all, damn, I've forgotten. There's Kit Longstaff, there he is there, and there's Marjorie, she's still alive, still living in Reith, I'm glad to say, Marjorie Longstaff there. And there's our next door neighbour who used to live, she's passed away now, Bill Murphy. He used to live in High Fremington in the old school. And there, way out over there, of course, you can see there, Draycott Hall, there's Draycott Hall there, and High Fremington in amongst the trees behind there. There's our house, peeping coyly out there, as you can see. And Fremington Edge, of course, Fremington Edge along there. In autumn time, a good time of year to take this photograph. Anyway, as I was saying, the next picture shows you there, Roland Whale there of Wales Garage, there he is there, a great strong chap, and the Tom Guy there who was with him in Wales Garage in its heyday when it was still working as a garage. And anyway, they got Roland Whale here. He was a Cumberland wrestler, by the way, in the days gone by. There he is. And he looked every inch a wrestler when you saw him, like that. Anyway, Roland Whale went up to the cow house, below Bleak House, and shot the bull. The only thing for it, really. And so that was the end of a sad story, I'm sorry to say. Next picture. And so here we are. This is the last picture I have of all of us here. By the way, I should have mentioned about coffee. I didn't know whether I did, but that last place was a marvellous place for coffee. It really was. Bleak House was well known not only for Swaledale cheese. Marjorie Longstaff used to make wonderful cheese at one time, but a great thing for coffee nowadays as well. What? You don't believe me? Well, anyway. And here we all are. Every end of the year, we always have an end of the year walk like this and a picnic in the woods here, just beyond the bridge in just on Harkerside, in fact. And here we all are looking out, and the whole lot of us there are about 40 of us here altogether. Next picture. So here we are looking down on you all, and this is from our house, the terrace on our house, and we are looking down on Brinton Church. There's Brinton Church there, and there's the road, and there's the Brinton Bridge there, and I am looking down on you all from our terrace, keeping a close eye on things, you see, walking along there, and these are innular daisies here on either side here. A great haunt of butterflies at this time of year. Tortoiseshell, red admirals, and orange tips. We have quite a few butterflies on there, and that's it really. And I'm glad to say that we have a kind friend from Brinton who always comes up and gives the lawn that wonderful striped effect that you see there. Wonderful. It makes the place look well manicured, as otherwise it jolly well isn't these days, I'm sorry to say. Next picture. And there, that's what our house looks like. And there's the terrace, you see, there's the terrace. And there's the seat there, with a table there to balance non-inebriating drinks. There, I read a weeny glass of whiskey or something. Very, very little really. And that's the view that you have. And it's all we have time for now, except for, I think, the last picture here, which is sunset over Harkerside and over Swaledale as a whole. And I'll say this at the beginning, that if you've enjoyed listening to me tonight as much as I've enjoyed talking to you about it, you've not had a bad evening. I'm jolly thankful to be able to give it to you as well. Thank you. Very much. I've greatly enjoyed it all, and not only tonight, but I've enjoyed, let me tell you, the whole season. Absolutely wonderful. Primarily because of the wonderful audience you have always been, and it's been a wonderful pleasure to be able to talk to you now. This is the last slideshow, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know whether I shall ever be able to give another one, but if I can, believe me, it will be a wonderful bonus, and I shall enjoy it all very much. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much.
I forget what the title of the talk was now, actually. Doesn't matter. And extracts from The Specialist, stories about tool holders and
10-holers, had some Lord Byron, as usual. We'd feel cheated if we hadn't been to the Northwest Frontier. We've been there, we've had the Harrods Catalogue, we all use that regularly. For those of you who are planning the Grand Tour, you've had a few tips on that. As always, it's been a quite delightful evening. As I say, anything I say is quite inadequate, but thank you from everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.